You won't fail to have noticed an explosion of CCTV in all walks of life, including in taxis. So I wanted to find out in this podcast what's happening and what the rules and regulations are. And to help me, we have David Lawrie from Safe Systems. So welcome, David. Let's find out a little bit about your company. Where are you based, first of all?
We're based just north of Manchester in Rosendale.
And you founded the company?
I did, yes.
And what were you doing before?
I was a taxi driver for 21 years and chair of Taxi Association for 15 of those years.
So what exactly inspired you then to form a company installing CCTV within this industry?
There was the increase of attacks on drivers, the limited ability of police to take action, the increase in allegations against drivers. Something had to change. Defence, evidence and proof had to be provided.
And, you know, from a lay point of view, there's a lot of cheap technology out of there. You can go onto any e-commerce shopping site and find all sorts of camera devices. Isn't that the easiest way for people to get the coverage they need?
I'm glad you've asked that question, and believe it or not, that was the first thing I tried, and I soon realised that they're far from satisfy GDPR regulations. In effect, you're comparing a webcam to domestic CCTV. They're not one and the same thing at all.
Right, so could you actually be sued by somebody if you misused one of those devices in a taxi?
You could indeed. If a passenger reported you to the Information Commissioner's Office for using something like that, then yes, you could be prosecuted. You could be prosecuted by the ICO. The fines are quite hefty.
So, in general terms, what are the rules around controlling the data? How do you get CCTV within those rules? And there's really two questions, but let's understand the landscape of data control.
Okay. Well, the ICO released a blog in May last year, and basically it broke it down into four main topics. Number one, the devices must be securely mounted. Number two, the data must be encrypted and stored away from the camera head to be protected from theft. Number three, the audio must be switch controlled using a panic switch. And number four, there must be a registered data controller.
So who sets the rules on what can be used? Is it just the ICO?
Yeah. It's the Information Commissioner's Office. They regulate the General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, and the Data Protection Act.
And why do you think that CCTV is becoming so important today? What's the main driver for people getting it installed?
It's the level of attacks on drivers. It's the number of false allegations that are made against drivers. It's protecting their livelihood, it's protecting their income, protecting their reputation, and saving them a fortune in legal fees.
And what's the reaction from customers in terms of choosing a firm that has CCTV? Is it a plus for them?
It very much so, yes. I mean, I've been doing this for around 8-9 years now, and invariably the feedback is that customers feel a lot safer, they feel a lot more protected, knowing that there is CCTV.
You know, imagine I'm an old wily taxi operator, and I've got some scoundrels working in my firm, and some of them are doing things I wouldn't particularly want them to do in the cab, selling certain substances or, moonlighting, all the tricks of the trade. Can I use CCTV to spy on them?
You can't use it to spy on them. That's a popular misconception. Big Brother is watching me, as they say. These devices cannot be remotely accessed, and the ICO are very strict on that as well. So there is no Big Brothers watching. You can't spy on them, you can't monitor them. The only time that data can be accessed is in the event of a report. But the advantage of that question, to answer that question a little bit better, if you do have a few scoundrels working for you, and they know that they're on CCTV, it's going to put them off as well, so it'll improve your reputation as an operator.
Okay, so you've convinced me I need a CCTV system. My accountant has said, what's the business case, John? So what's going to be the key advantages? How would you sell this to the financial side of the business?
There's a few benefits to it. Number one, you save yourself a fortune in legal fees. Number two, we do work with an awful lot of insurance companies, so you can potentially get insurance discount. Number three, we can offer finance packages on them as well. And number four, we do encourage wherever we can local authorities to apply for funding to subsidise it in the interest of public safety, because these things are not just to protect drivers, they also protect the public.
And is there very much variance in terms of the sophistication of these systems these days?
Most of the high-end ones, and we're not the only ones, there are quite a few others as well, but most of the high-end ones are pretty much on a par with each other as far as technology and sophistication is concerned. There are a few underhand ones that don't have the same technology, but we'll try to tell you that there are. But yeah, most of the ones that aren't quite up to standard, they don't tend to stick around that long, and they don't tend to be approved in that many places either. So that's another thing to watch for. See where they're approved. See what kind of reputation they've got.
So finally, if I get involved in choosing a CCTV system, is there a best practice? Is there, a buyer's guide? What sort of things should I be asking of a good, bona fide, qualified supplier?
Well, the first thing you need to be asking is, how many places are they approved? What kind of reputation they've got? Are they authorised in their own particular local authority? I suppose a trick question would really be, are you going to put the system in my car? If the answer is yes, think twice. If the answer is, let me check with your local authority, that's the kind of one you want, because they are the ones that are going to make sure that the system they provide for you is suitable for your needs.
David, thank you so much for being our subject matter expert of the month from PHTM, the nation's favourite read.
You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to work with PHTM.
So make sure that you get your copy of PHTM. Go onto our website, make sure you can get it delivered to you. We also have video highlights of the news that you can get on the YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Facebook. But that's all from me and David, our expert of the month from PHTM, the nation's favourite read. Bye for now.